I feel the weight of your absence pressing against my chest, as though the world conspires to remind me of every second we are apart, and yet in this void, I find the echo of your heartbeat, steady and unwavering, pulling me toward you like a tide that refuses to recede. Even in the quietest moments, when the palace corridors are draped in shadows, and the murmurs of history linger around me, I sense you, your warmth brushing against the corners of my soul, a whisper that I can neither grasp nor let go, and it makes my yearning feel both infinite and tender. I imagine your hands, those hands that have held my fears and my laughter alike, and in that memory, I see a world reshaped, a world where every sorrow softens at your touch, every doubt dissolves in your gaze, and every fleeting hour stretches into eternity when you are near. The nights grow long without you, my love, each one embroidered with dreams that taste of longing and promises unspoken. I awake with the ache of your absence etched into my ribs, a quiet, persistent reminder that my heart has claimed you entirely, even when I cannot reach across the distance that separates us. I am haunted by the thought of losing you, not in the dramatic ways that fairy tales threaten, but in the subtle slippages of daily life, when a glance goes unshared, when a smile is held back, and I am left to wonder if you feel the same invisible tug that pulls me relentlessly toward you. There are moments, my beloved, when I imagine you standing before me, and I swear the air bends around you, as though even the walls of the palace recognize the gravity of your presence. And in that imagined moment, I tremble, not from fear, but from the exquisite ache of knowing how much I need you. I remember your laughter, a sound that lingers in the hollows of my heart, and I replay it endlessly, as if by hearing it enough times I can stitch together the pieces of my own happiness. It is a melody that turns despair into hope, distance into closeness, and makes every shadowed corner of my mind feel luminous. If I could speak directly to the stars, I would plead with them to cradle you in the same light that they sprinkle upon me when I think of you. I would ask them to guard you, to remind you of my devotion, to whisper my apologies for the moments I falter, for the times I have let fear or doubt stand between us. My love, forgive the trembling that comes when I imagine you with someone else, even as I know that my heart is yours alone. It is a fragile, honest terror that betrays nothing but the intensity of what I feel, a devotion that is at once quiet and consuming, gentle yet impossible to deny. When I think of our time together, every memory stretches like a golden thread through the tapestry of my days. I recall the soft brush of your hand against mine, the unspoken promises in your eyes, the warmth of your embrace that turned fleeting hours into universes of sensation I never want to leave. I ache to tell you, again and again, how deeply I have loved you, not merely as a feeling, but as a force that shapes the very way I breathe, the rhythm of my heart, the poetry that hides itself behind my every glance and sigh. You are the pulse that moves me, the whisper that drives me forward when all else seems still. Do you know, my beloved, how your absence leaves a hollow, yet the memory of you fills it with a longing so sweet it almost hurts. It is as if the world pauses between the beats of our hearts, and I am suspended in a space where every second without you stretches endlessly. I cannot bear the thought of you doubting my devotion, for it is as constant as the moon's ascent, as inevitable as dawn's light spilling into shadowed rooms. Even when I falter, even when words fail me, my love for you remains a fire untamed, a current pulling me to the shores of your heart. Sometimes I fear that my emotions are too large, too unruly to contain, that the way I ache for you might frighten you, as much as it consumes me. But then I remind myself that love, at its purest, demands surrender, and I surrender to you wholly, without hesitation, without regret. Your silence is a language I have learned to read with trembling patience. Each pause in your voice a story of its own. I imagine the depth of your thoughts, the contours of your worries, and I ache to be your confidante, your refuge, the place where every secret and fear can be safely laid down. I imagine the world we might build together, brick by luminous brick, a kingdom of tenderness and stolen glances, of whispered confessions under a sky that only knows us. In this imagined world, every trial fades, every sorrow is tempered, and our hearts are the crown jewels, radiant and unassailable. The thought of seeing you again fills me with a joy so profound it makes my knees weak, my breath catch, and yet it is intertwined with a nervous tremor, a romantic suspense that coils in my chest and refuses to be quieted. I long to tell you everything, yet the weight of every word threatens to escape me entirely. Do you feel it too, my love? The pull of inevitability, the sense that we were always meant to find each other, even when the world seemed vast and unyielding. It is a delicate, thrilling ache, the kind that makes each heartbeat a whispered prayer of gratitude and longing intertwined. I fear the storms of life, the interruptions of fate, the moments that test love's resilience. But then I remember your gaze, steady and unwavering, and I am reminded that devotion like ours bends but never breaks. It is a fortress built of patience, trust, and an intensity that defies ordinary understanding. There are nights when I lie awake, imagining your hand brushing my hair, your lips a promise upon my forehead, and I shiver not from the cold, but from the exquisite awareness that you exist in this world, and that someday I will claim the warmth that is already mine in memory. I apologize, my dearest, for every time my fear has shadowed our love, for every second I let doubt creep into the space where only your presence should dwell. I hope you know that even in my uncertainty, my heart beats solely for you, each thrum a hymn to the truth that we are inseparable. If I could, I would fold every moment of longing into a single breath and send it to you, a message invisible to all but your heart. A secret vow that I am yours in ways the world cannot measure or contain. My love is both anchor and sail, both gentle current and stormy sea, and it belongs entirely to you. Even the simplest thought of you ignites a cascade of emotions I cannot name: joy, tenderness, suspense, and a longing that feels almost sacred, a devotional age that marks every part of me with your presence. I have become a vessel filled with you, and yet I crave more, infinitely more. I fear the words might fail, that no poem, no gesture, no whisper could ever fully encapsulate the depth of my devotion, yet still, I write, I speak, I breathe for you, hoping that even fragments of my love reach your soul, and remind you that my heart has never wandered from you. Every heartbeat whispers your name, even in silence. Every glance toward the horizon carries a shadow of your smile. Every sigh is threaded with the memory of your touch. And though the world spins on, and though time moves relentlessly, my love remains suspended in you, eternal and untamed. I wake each morning with your name resting on my lips like an unfinished prayer. And before the sun can fully claim the sky, my heart has already traveled to where I imagine you are, carrying with it all the tenderness I was too shy, too afraid, or too proud to speak aloud before. There is a royal stillness expected of me, a composure shaped by lineage and watchful eyes. Yet inside I am unruly with longing, pacing endlessly through thoughts of you, wondering if you can feel how deeply my spirit leans toward yours. When the world demands I stand apart, I have learned that love is not always loud or triumphant. Sometimes it is a quiet endurance, a patient ache that teaches the heart how to wait without surrendering hope. And in this waiting, my devotion to you has grown sharper, brighter, more resolute than I ever imagined possible. When I remember the moments I hesitated, the times I chose silence, when I should have chosen courage, remorse wraps around me like silk and thorns together, beautiful yet painful. Because I know how much gentler the past might have been, if I had trusted love more than fear. You are not merely a memory I revisit. You are a presence that reshapes my present, coloring even the most ordinary hours with anticipation, as if every step I take is leading me closer to a moment when your eyes will meet mine again, and nothing else will matter. I often wonder if you sense the way I defend you in my thoughts, how fiercely I protect your place in my heart against doubt, against the whispers of distance, against the relentless duties that try to convince me that love must always come second. My affection for you is not fragile, though it trembles. It is not uncertain, though it questions itself. It is a living thing, breathing and evolving, capable of enduring separation, while still yearning desperately for reunion, like a crown fashioned not of gold but of promise. There are hours when I imagine confessing everything, letting my voice break if it must, telling you that my apology is not weakness, but proof of how deeply I value what we share, how unwilling I am to let pride eclipse the truth of my devotion. In the soft privacy of my thoughts, I speak to you as if you are beside me, describing the way my heart tightens when I think of your smile, how it loosens only when I imagine your reassurance, your quiet understanding wrapping around me like shelter. I fear the weight of expectations might one day press too hard upon us. Yet I also believe love such as ours was never meant to be light or effortless. It was meant to be chosen, again and again. Even when the cost feels heavy, you have become my favorite uncertainty, the beautiful risk I am willing to take, despite knowing how deeply it could wound me. Because a life untouched by such love would feel far more barren than any heartbreak could make it. Sometimes I envy the simplicity of ordinary lovers, those who can hold hands without consequence, who can speak freely without echoes following them. Yet I would not trade the depth of what I feel for you, even if it comes wrapped in longing and restraint. I imagine your patience, how you might be waiting in your own way, carrying questions you do not voice, and it makes me ache to close the distance between us, to reassure you that my hesitation was never indifference, but reverence for what we share. My love, if you ever doubt the sincerity of my apology, know that it is carved from nights of reflection, from moments when I confronted my own faults and chose humility over comfort, honesty over silence. There is a tension that lives in my chest, a romantic suspense that never fully resolves. Because loving you feels like standing at the edge of something vast and luminous, knowing that stepping forward could change everything, yet unable to turn away. I replay our moments not to escape reality, but to strengthen myself within it, reminding my heart why it beats faster at the thought of you, why every sacrifice feels lighter when I imagine sharing its weight with you. Even my solitude feels altered by you, It is no longer empty but expectant, filled with conversations yet to happen, apologies yet to be fully received, love yet to be fully lived without restraint. I long for the day when I can look at you without reservation, when my apology will no longer tremble between us, but settle gently, accepted and understood, like a promise renewed rather than a wound reopened. Until then, I carry you quietly, fiercely, allowing my love to mature in the shadows, learning patience not as punishment, but as preparation for something enduring and true. If destiny tests us, let it find us resilient. If distance challenges us, let it discover that longing can be a bridge as much as a burden, and that my heart has never wandered from yours. I am sorry not only for what I did, but for what I delayed, for the tenderness I held back when it should have flowed freely. And I hope you can see that my remorse is an invitation, not an ending. You are etched into my becoming, woven into who I am learning to be. And even if the world never understands the depth of my affection, I am content knowing that my heart recognizes yours unmistakably. Every thought of you sharpens my resolve, reminding me that love worth having is love worth fighting for, even when the battle is quiet, internal, and known only to the soul. I wait with grace, with yearning, with a heart open and unguarded, believing that what we share is not fragile but profound, not fleeting but patiently unfolding. And if you listen closely, beyond the noise of days and doubts, you will hear my heart calling to yours, steady and sincere, whispering the same truth again and again. I am sorry, I am waiting, and I love you still.